Today I really want to highlight an exotic and a build for a warlock, Vesper Radiance. This is an exotic that it's been used in the past, I would say, season. The past season we had, and then very used in this season. And I'm not sure a lot of people using this exotic, but I want to highlight how you can optimize this exotic to make it better, and then for your daily usage and raids, and mainly like the PvE focus, whether you want to use it in, a GM, or whether it's a normal nightfall, or raids, or gambit, or strikes. Like in general, anything in the game that requires you to add clear. This build can really work as add clear and also a little bit of damage, and I'll talk about that. But I found out that the way this build works is in two. Like I said, one would be just focusing on add clear, getting you super back, and one is damage. Now for damage, it's not the most optimal, but it can definitely help. So we can just start really quick with how it is I set it up personally. Now again, this will be different before I go back to that. Because I wanted to make sure to get the triple 100. I was getting lucky. I guess I got lucky with my armor to get triple 100, and also how I set up as a when it comes to the aspects and the fragments, which I'll also go back to that. But the most important thing about it is the recovery, because this build, the exotic itself, the Vesper Radiance relies on recovery, and so the more recovery you have, the build works better. And obviously resilience. I think every player should have it at max, which is tier 10, 100. If you can't do that, like you can run 50, you'll be fine. But I feel like in end game, like master raids or GMs or master in general nightfalls, I think you will struggle a little bit. So you should always have it as 100. And then having a discipline as 100 is a bonus. It's not a must-have, but it's definitely a bonus. Mobility stays the same because it's really focused on stationary builds. And then intellect comes in with the build, which we'll talk about. Strength, not much. You don't really need to do much for it. Like, it's fine. But let me start with the build that I have for aspects. The aspects, I have this one, just simply Arc Souls. Nothing crazy about it. And then this one as well. I set it up with these fragments. And the only reason some of the fragments that a lot of people like, well, why don't you run this? Why don't you run that? Again, this is just mainly to make sure I get my triple. But I'm stayed focused on the most important one, which is this one. And I would say this one as well. Honestly, all important, like nothing crazy, except maybe this is the question mark, but I still went for it. So let's go through the class item, how you want to have to set up. Again, some of the things can be questioned, can be coming from opinion, but this is what really works. I'm not gonna say for me, but what works for the build. Bomber, reduce grenade when you pop a rift, you get a grenade back. Run double. Triple is not optimal just because, it just doesn't help much. And then reduce all class ability. Pop rift, grenades back, melee back, rift back. So nothing too crazy here. Here where it gets a little bit tricky, and you might not even know about it. A lot of people might not know, but you should always have a surge here, any surge. And the only reason you want to have surge, because if you get super full, anything you add here between these, they won't work. And the reason they don't work, because your super is charged, so your ability to collect orbit will not work. So you kind of have to have a surge. I'm using solar surge just because I'm using sunshot here. I've been using this gun a little bit. So definitely have a surge. Again, this is still question mark for me, but I think this is what really worked. And then I have this, reduce class ability each time I pick an orb. So I get an orb, I basically get a portion of my rift back. Here, is basically, it depends on what you're doing. These are all subject to change based on what you're gonna do. Whether you're gonna run, for example, let's say triple solar, you definitely can do that. They all work. They all stack. Or you can do. I like concussive dampener, and then whatever, like if it's melee, snipers, etc. Or even harmonic cost one if it's arc. Just remember that. So that's up to you based on what you're really doing. And then for the arms, this is what I'm running. I'm running 2. I just didn't see any benefits in running 3 personally. But again, if you throw a grenade, you get a rift back. Rift back, that means the exotic to kick in and will work fine. And then same thing here. If I'm throwing a grenade, if I'm meleeing, then all of this will go back to my rift. So I'm gonna waste my rift really quick. So now I'm gonna do this. As you can see, alright, maybe messed up the grenade, but you can already see that I've got my rift back to 100% in that few seconds. Now here's also, I want you to pay attention to my super. I'm starting by ads. Look to my super, it charged really quick. I'm killing the ads, I'm throwing grenades, causing damage. And I got my rift back, and super, and it works perfectly. Now let me go back to one thing that I think I spoke about, which is the helmet. My bad there, I kind of rushed it, but nothing crazy there. Just have dynamo, double. You can run triple if it allows you, but double is perfect. Again, this build is all about, I'm gonna pop a rift. I got my rift. It will help me, it will help my teammate. It will blind the enemies. It will keep me safe as much as I can. You can always refresh it. I melee, I got a rift energy back. I throw a grenade, I got rift. I'm close to the ads, I got my super. It's one and all build with this exotic. Vesper Radiance. Again, focus on recovery. Once you get your recovery to 100, then your rift will recharge faster. Rift, grenade, super. You can use Stormcaller for ad clear, or you can do Chaos Reach for also ad clear and damage. And then you can use that mainly for ad clear, but for damage, the only thing you have to change is to do time dilations on the class item, surges, loaders, targeting. Targeting is not a must-have, but it definitely helps. And yeah, you can definitely have that as a damage. I don't recommend it because I feel like there's better options. But for ad clear and survivability in GMs, knife holes, like you said, this is probably one of the best, if not the best, ad clear tool you can have. This is not a build that I made up, but it's been used, and I feel like many players might be sleeping on it. So I said, may as well make a video, and then hopefully it benefits anyone that is looking for a good Warlock build. I will be making a lot of builds regarding other characters and classes and other exotics in the future. And if anyone wants any specific builds, please let me know in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to make a build and how you can use it and optimize it. Alright, so wish you all a good day and see you around.